Hey, there are two concepts I have here. I just want to make a simple hoodie. Now, when I say a simple hoodie, no doubt with me, I'm going to have some decoration on it and some contrasting fabrics. But I have two concepts that I'm working with, and I will see which inspires me. And I hope this shows you a little bit about what my process is. So I have a piece of fleece here. It's a more peacocky than teal to me. And looking through my scraps and things, I found this piece of poly knit, and I think that would make a really nice hood. I like the way it gives some contrast, but at the same time it doesn't deaden this, it doesn't kill it. What I mean by that is I found this, I thought, oh, it's tealy, peacocky, and I put this against the fabric itself, and I think it makes the fabric kind of die. It just kind of goes blech. So we'll put that aside. You can see I have some other trims here. So I thought, well, I could do my hood here with both sides of the hood out of this. I often like what I have on. I have got one fabric here and one fabric here. And I thought, well, what do I have that I could line my hood with, or use this as the lining? And I have this piece of stretch tulle, and it's kind of interesting. Let me hold this up so you can see it. You can still see the pattern through it, but you don't see the whiteness of this, so it kind of mutes that whiteness, but you still see the pattern through it. So I could have the inside of the hood like that and the outside of the hood like this, and that's kind of how I judge it. But again, I think this tulle here, this color, makes the fashion fabric kind of die. It doesn't show the beauty of it or the life of the color. So we'll get rid of that. And that just brings me back to, I think I will just do the hood lining it out of the self fabric, so you see this on both sides. I pulled out a couple of other little trims, and yes, I have all of this in my stash. I buy in my own colorway a lot, especially if it's not too expensive, and just have it here for my arsenal of things. And I put this against here, and I quite like that combination with this color. It's not exactly one of these colors. Let's get to the right side of that lace trim, but it blends them. I have a lighter color teal too, but actually looking down on it, I don't like it so much, but looking at it in the camera, it's kind of interesting. So I'll keep both of these out, and maybe I'll use one of them right along where the hood attaches. Maybe I'll make a hood, kangaroo pocket and put that and this along together somehow. At this stage of my process, I don't need to figure everything out. I can leave some things unanswered in my mind, but this has told me for this piece of fabric, I like this fabric. It's scrap, so that's nice, and I have made another garment, a dress out of it, so this is just scrap, and it lets this fabric come to life. Whether I use these or not, we'll see. So let's go on to my other concept. Get this moved out of our way. And I have a piece of gray fleece. I was looking first at this side because that's what had been folded out. And I have a piece of cotton here. I'm going to do the same idea of a top. Let me show you the picture. So I've developed this neckline for myself on my hoodie, so the opening is a little different, and this collar is kind of stands up and is nice. So it stands up. I have to think about that. And when I saw how pretty this woven cotton looks against this, I thought, oh, that's kind of soft and nice. I might do that, and with the cotton, I could even put a little lightweight interfacing to make that collar stand up. I very rarely just do a combination like this without a bridge fabric, and I thought, well, one thing I could do is use some of this fabric. Let me see if I can pull some of this around. For the lining, the inside, it would be soft against my skin, and this would be the outside and show. And I thought, well, if I do that, maybe I can use a binding. And so I pulled out my fold over trims and thought, well, I could use that as a binding. That's pretty high contrast there, but it's a nice combination on this side with the green and the pink. And so I tried a couple of things. I have something even pinker. To me, whether I use the gray or just the cotton, this is too strong. It overpowers this. You stop seeing this. All you see is this. So I won't use that. And then I have, of course, a couple of other ones. I love pink, so I have a bunch of pink fold over elastic trim. That's too pale. It doesn't do what I want. And then I had one more, no surprise. I have a ton of 4 or 5 of these, it looks like. And I put this on, and all of a sudden I go, oh my gosh, yes, it's that it has a softness to it like this does and like this does. And I thought, well, that's good. So now I can get rid of, you can pull that out, get rid of that stuff. I don't have to think about it anymore. And then I wondered what would happen if I used a black on the inside. But I opened this up to pull it up like this, and I realized that the 2 sides of this fleece are different. So here's one side. You can see I've used it for something else, so this is a big scrap. And here, can you see the difference? Subtle. It's really subtle, especially through the camera. But this side is softer. It's more muted, and this side has more strength of color. So I'll go to the mirror after I play around with this on the table and see, do I want to use this stronger, a little bit stronger, or do I want to use the really muted side to be against my skin on the outside of the hoodie. I don't necessarily need to decide that right now. And I'm calling it a hoodie even though we're using a collar, just out of habit, saying that type of garment. But I really like this combination. When I found this pink trim, it's not exactly one of these colors. I'll get that a little bit closer for you. It's not exact match, but it doesn't need to be. Our eye is always happy to blend things. I also had the idea of maybe I'll use a charcoal, a darker charcoal, or a black, and I'll grab a couple of blacks. And then I thought, well, the pink is good here. Maybe I could put a pink on the inside. And this actually looks pretty together on this, but it overwhelms. This is too intense a color for what I'm going for. And I didn't have any other pinks that are more pale or rosy, what they call rose pink. So then I thought, well, I could do a black. And of course, I've got some black scrap. And blacks vary a whole lot in how black and intense they are. I pulled these blacks out in part because they're thin, and that might be good compared to using the thicker fleece. And so I can put this kind of up on top and see what that change is. My gut is that a black is going to be too strong of a contrast for how soft and pretty this print looks. Now, if I wanted to make this print look starker, I could do with the higher contrast, but I like the softness of this look. So as you can see here from my pile, I tried 3 or 4 different blacks. Some of them are grayer than others, but I keep coming back to, I like either the collar inside and outside being just the cotton print with the trim going on the edge of it, or maybe I'll use the fleece. It's wintertime, it's bitterly cold here, so of course fleece against my neck sounds good. And I'll just have to see if my fold over trim would go over those layers and be able to physically sew it, and whether I want then this to be on the inside and this on the outside, or vice versa, where I have the fleece against my skin and this on the outside, which is probably what I'll do. After working on the table flat like this, of course the garment's going to be all gray, so we'll cover that up. So we have just that little bit of the print showing against my skin, and we have gray up in here, so we just see that soft print on the inside of the collar and edge it with the pink, and I think that would be really pretty. So after working flat on a table for a little bit, I'll go to a mirror and hold it up and do some more play. But I hope this shows you a little bit of my process. Thanks for watching.